Hey guys, Goes90 here, and welcome back to another review. This time we're going to be taking a look at the DX Jackal Vistamp and Vistamp bars from Kamen Rider Revice, our obligatory holder gimmick for this year now. Normally I don't really like collecting these things because I feel like these things take up too much space, and I think a storage bin is more than enough to hold everything that you need in your collections. But this time I made an exception of it because trying to find a storage container that will fit Vistamps is a little bit tricky. And plus I wanted to try this out, test the waters, and see if I like this or not. And my opinion is just more in the meh category for it, but we'll get more into that later. But anyway, as you can see, this thing comes with only one Vistamp, but the initial set came with 2 of these bars. So if you wanted to, you had to buy a second set to collect 3 more bars. So that's pretty much the standard when it comes to these holder gimmick items, is that you buy one of these things and it comes with a few parts with a gimmick item, or you buy a separate set that's relatively a little bit more expensive than the standard set that comes with just more pieces to create more, but with no gimmick included. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the Vistamp bars first. So as you can see, the Vistamp bars are a little bit more on the interesting side of things because these things are a particular shape, and it's a little bit weird because I personally like to call this the Vistamp dish rack because, to be honest with you, these things are just straight up little tongs that you see on dishwashers and such. And the overall, just the feel, the quality of the plastic is a little bit more on the lighter plastic side of things, but it's still hard plastic. And the extra dividers here basically just help this thing stand up on its own. But essentially, the overall shape of it is that you get 5 pieces. They form a little star formation at the top, and they form one at the bottom here. Connections aren't really that good, in my opinion, because the way that these things connect is that they're essentially held in with just friction here. And it's just these little itty-bitty tabs in this little section here. And supposedly, it's supposed to connect to the inside portions here and here. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to put it in like this at first, and then you're going to just clasp it inside, and then you just take the other sections here and you just sort of wrap those around like so. And it's a little bit tricky because sometimes the plastic doesn't really want to connect in at first, but once you got everything all connected and sturdy, like, come on, it sort of does work out for you in the end result. You can see here. And of course, every single one is detailed in a different molding pattern. As you can see, we got a couple of arrows locating, hey, you have to put your Vistamp here. And these things do kind of remind me of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc because the whole card slot and everything here. And like this, and like the front here suggests, this thing does come with Vice stickers for the overall gimmick of it. The first set came with 2 Vice stickers, and then the booster set came with 3 of them. So you got 5 of them, and you put them all around the tower if you really wanted to. I only wanted to put it right here because this is primarily where I'm going to put the Rex stamp and everything. But yeah, I don't think I'll put the other Vice stickers on here. I mean, at first I was contemplating even putting these things on it to begin with, but I figured I might as well just put one on just for the overall sake of simplicity's sake. But yeah, as you can see, it's the same all around. I wish that the connections was a little bit more sturdy on these things because it's a little loose on some ports here, but can't really complain because these things are more or less to be desired. This thing does hold Vistamps. So what it does is that it just plops right down in there, sort of like the Vistamp holders for the initial driver. And it's no way it's going to come out in the slightest unless you actually force it out like so. Some Vistamps are a little harder to get out than others, but that's more or less on friction and everything else. So let's go ahead and get them in. So here we have Rex, Bata. Camera, there we go. So we have Rex and Bata. Here we have Megalodon, Eagle, Ptera, Lion. Let's go ahead and put Jackal there for simplicity. And I just got this today, as of this recording at least, because this just came in the mail. But I also did get the Mantis stamp. Now, I did also have the Kong stamp in the same order, but unfortunately that's shipped off at a later date, so that's coming in shortly. But essentially, though, let's go ahead and put that in. And we only have 2 spaces left missing. This is going to be for both. This is going to be for the Bat Vi stamp and the Kong Vi stamp, because personally, I don't really see not the Bat and Kong. This is mostly going to be for Brachio and Kong. Unfortunately, like I said, this thing only holds 10 Vi stamps, which is a little bit upsetting. But I mean, to be completely fair, this thing is supposed to represent the 10 Vi stamps that are in this show. But like I said earlier, I don't have any intentions of picking up Mammoth, so this is probably just going to be for Brachio and Kong, and then I'm just going to put Rex and Bata here. I don't know about Bat, because I mean I'm going to pick up the 2-side driver, but I don't know where I'm going to be able to put the Vi stamp, but I'll find a place for it eventually. But at any rate, I think I rambled on a little bit too much for this section, so let's go ahead and take off the Jackal stamp here and talk about it more personally. So here we have the Jackal Vi stamp, primarily based on Kamen Rider X8. Now, I don't know the reasoning why Jackal was chosen for X8 specifically, but I think it's more or less on resemblance-wise, because the Jackals, they represent a pharaoh or Anubis, or in this case a god, and X8 sort of had a god character. But another reason why is because also Hypermuteki kind of looks like an ancient pharaoh, and Jackals represent pharaohs, or not represent, they serve pharaohs, and they often were represented with Anubis, which is the god of the underworld. So, I mean, it sort of does fit there with the referencing and such. So, at any rate, though, enough with the mindless rambling. As you can see here, it's casted in a nice transparent yellow plastic, as well as a nice metallic pink little representation of the Jackal. And as you can see here, we have the little frills on top for X8's hair, as well as the little eye shapes here and there for X8's overall helmet and the goggles. And of course, comparing this to another Vi stamp, here it is next to the Lion Vi stamp, just for comparison with the shades of yellow, because this is more of a darker yellow, while this is more of a light, kind of sort of highlighter-ish yellow color. Of course, we got the dual injected plastic here, which is all different and in different moldings and such. And on the bottom here, we have your generic little stamp pad. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get into our sounds and such. So hitting the button. Stamping. Now we got all that out of the way. Let's bring in the Revice driver and check out the extra sounds. Okay, I'm actually glad that the video doesn't show how bright this thing is, because my eyes hurt from the bright yellow. But, yeah, all of that aside, though, taking a closer look at the actual Revice driver, as you can see, you got your little Jackal right there, looking straight at the face of it, because it's basically reversed. And in terms of the overall Henshin jingle, I do like that it's has the energy of the Mighty Action X Gashette, which is a reference to X8 in and of itself. I do like the little spin, and the overall vibe of it represents the rider with enough justice in and of itself. And as for the form itself, I mean, Vice turns into a skateboard, and the guy wears shoes. I mean, Vans shoes to skate. Like, that's ingenious in and of itself. So, yeah. Now we got all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get into our final attacks and the remix. Really do hate how these things cut out for most of the attacks and such. that was a little bit too fast, but these things are subtitled anyway. But I think that's a really nice overall with the energy of it for the remix sound effect. And of course, this thing does do more, but we'll take a look at more of the compatibility with this with the rest of the toy line when we take a look at the two-side driver at some point next year. But with all that being said, though, that sort of wraps up everything with the Revice, with the Jackal Vistamp. Now, do I recommend this? I mean, personally, I'm not really too big on the whole holder gimmicks. I just wanted to try this out for the time being because I wanted to expand my horizons a little bit. That and the Jackal Vistamp is probably one of my favorites for the toy line so far. But as it stands right now, I think this is a fine little storage unit. I mean, personally, I think I'll probably throw this in a box at some point later on down the road, or just sell the Vistamp bars to somebody who might need them later on down the road. But with all that being said, though, I think this is a nice set. I think you definitely should pick it up, and I'll leave a link down below to the Collectibles page for all of Revice. But with all that being said, though, guys, what do you guys personally think of this item? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you think it's low quality or whatever it is? Let me know with a comment below. And if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe for more content. And join us next time when we take a look at the Kamakiri by Stamp. GhostGrindo90, signing out. And I'll see you guys next time.